Welcome to May's Coastal Garden. You know, this is the beginning of summer for us here in southeastern North Carolina. Later on, Chantel will be in the kitchen using some strawberries that we're going to show you in the middle segment, how to get some of those strawberries. This is the big strawberry month here in southeastern North Carolina. But before we go to that, mentioning it is almost summertime, we have Leslie Wilson, who is our 4-H agent, in charge of the youth program here with Cooperative Extension in the Arboretum. And she's here to tell us a little bit about some of what 4-H is going to be doing this summer. Leslie, welcome to the Coastal Garden. Appreciate you being here. Well, probably before we go into what you've got to offer for the summer, we probably need to tell the folks a little bit about 4-H. Maybe they are not quite so sure about who's served and what kids are eligible and all that. So give us a little bit about that.
Well, 4-H is a youth development program for kids 5 to 18. It's free to join 4-H, and what our goal in 4-H is just to teach kids life skills and the things that they need to be successful in life. And we do that through teaching them about leadership and citizenship and how to serve their communities.
I guess a lot of people, when they think about 4-H, Leslie, they probably think about county fairs and animals and more traditional things, but our program here in New Hanover County is a little different, isn't it?
Yeah, so there is a traditional aspect of 4-H that still exists, but we also try to incorporate things that our communities need. So in New Hanover County, we do a lot of gardening, we do a lot of science activities as well that might not be quite so traditional. Okay.
Well, moving into what's going on, I think part of what you've got going on this summer is what you'd call a day camp, and it's a kind of different subject matter. So tell us a little bit about some of those opportunities.
We have two really exciting day camps this summer that we're offering. The first is a Cloverbud Day Camp, and if you aren't familiar with 4-H terminology, Cloverbud is a 5 to 8-year-old. Okay. And this camp is June 10th through the 14th, and it's a week-long, half-day in the morning. And the theme of the camp is really for kids just to learn about themselves, so character development, learn about families and how some families are different, and really just to celebrate different cultures around the world. Okay. So we'll be doing a lot of crafts and a lot of games, and we'll get to explore the Arboretum while we're out here as well.
So that's for the younger set. I'm sure you've got something for the little older crowd too, don't you?
We do. We have a science camp that's July 15th through the 19th. And during that camp, we'll be doing a lot of different types of sciences. So it's really good for any kid who's just interested in learning about how things work and likes to do experiments. So we'll be doing some engineering, some robotics, we'll learn about plants and animals, and we'll get to do a lot of hands-on things. Like they'll get to make their own lamps, we'll use robots to try to figure out how we can maybe save a beach from destruction. So a lot of really cool things in that camp.
Appropriate here at the beach, of course. Mm-hmm. How about the kids who might want to do the more traditional thing and go away somewhere for a summer camp? Do you have opportunities for them there?
We do. As a county, we're going away to the Betsy Jeff Penn 4-H camp, July 28th through August 2nd. And that's just a very traditional camp. If you think of camp and going hiking and having campfires, doing canoeing and swimming and horseback riding, that's what we'll be doing during that week.
Okay. So if someone's out there who has a child who they might be interested in the day camps, maybe the summer camp at Betsy Jeff Penn, how do they sign up and how do they get more information?
Well, if they're interested in signing up for a day camp, they can just visit our website and download our enrollment forms and submit that to our extension office with the payment for the camp. If they're interested in going to Betsy Jeff Penn, then we just require a $100 deposit to reserve their spot, and then the camp forms as well.
Well, Leslie, you know, these camps fill up pretty quickly, don't they? So what would you suggest for the folks out there who might be interested?
Well, we don't have a specific deadline, but we do only take a limited number of campers, so I would encourage parents to go ahead and check it out if they're interested in sending their child to camp this summer.
Well, Leslie, that sounds like a great bunch of summer activities for the kids here in this part of the world, and thanks for joining us here on the Coastal Garden. That's Leslie Wilson, our 4-H agent in charge of the youth programming here in Cooperative Extension. We have a problem, a bug that's resurfaced from last fall. Let's go take a look at that right now. You may remember last fall we showed you Kudzu Bugs. Properly called bean plataspids, these bugs attack legumes like this wisteria that's next to us. They also go after peanuts and soybeans in farm fields. In the ornamentals world, they're just more of a nuisance. There'll just be huge numbers of them feeding on the plant, inserting their little mouth parts, drinking out the sap. In soybeans and peanuts, they are a big, big problem. So if you're a farmer, you might want to be dealing with them. But in our world, in the gardening world, kudzu bugs are really mostly just a nuisance. They are fairly easy to control, but there's just so many of them that usually it's not worth the hassle. So the best thing to do, ignore them, and they'll soon go away, but another generation will come back in late summer, early fall. Speaking of other issues for this time of year, this is a great time to deal with some lawn care issues. We'll show you some more of that in just a moment. By this month, you probably noticed the grass is already greened up. You're probably mowing a little bit right now, although the cooler nights are probably not going to give you a lot of growth. But this is a big month for lawn care, specifically mowing and fertilizing. A couple of things to think about when you're mowing these warm season grasses. Remember the rule of 1/3. You never want to remove more than 1/3 of the total growth at one mowing event. So don't let the grass get too tall and then scalp it back. You'll really set the grass back because those growing points are in that crown area. You don't want to get down into that. So if you're mowing at 2 inches, cut it when it gets to 3 inches. We have lots of information on lawn care, lots of lawn maintenance calendars. You can get them at your local extension office. For here, of course, it's at the Arboretum. You can also find it at the Turf Files website. If you just search for that, it'll pop right up from NC State University. That'll give you some basics on mowing heights specifically for each grass, and it'll also give you some fertilization recommendations. Now, one thing to think about with these warm season grasses, remember, they like it hot. So you're in no big hurry, even now in May, to fertilize, although most of us are starting to think about it. If you have Bermuda grass, certainly you want to go ahead with that main shot of fertilizer for this time of year. If you have centipede grass and you look on NC State's recommendations, they're not even telling you to fertilize until June. I think here in southeastern North Carolina, you can probably go ahead and do that and then maybe do another one in June, July on centipede grass. But keep in mind, it's not really that critical to get started so early. These grasses are not going to grow until it gets good and hot. So go ahead with the mowing. Make sure you keep that rule of 1/3 in mind. The fertilization, except for the Bermuda grass, isn't all that critical, but this is a good month to go ahead and get started with those. Your local cooperative extension office has a lawn maintenance calendar that recaps all of that information. It's available there. You can also find it at turffiles.com from NC State University's website. I'm going to get started on my mowing, but after the break, we're going to go to the strawberry patch.
What we do to the planet, we do to ourselves. You can help keep America beautiful. Visit kab.org.
Welcome back to the show. Now, May is the hot time for strawberries here in southeastern North Carolina. And this is a fruit that does pretty darn well here. A lot of them don't, especially the tree fruits. When you see the fields of strawberries growing on plastic like these are here at the Castle Hayne Research Station, it's a little different than you might do them at home. These are grown as an annual crop. They are planted in the fall, and they grow through the winter into the spring, and then they start to produce fruit this time of year. So as I said, May is the time when you're going to see most of the peak yield coming from strawberries. This is a system that was developed out in California, so you may hear it termed that, the California system of growing strawberries. Probably not the typical way you might do it at home. The old, what we call matted row, which was done on bare ground, not on plastic with multiple plants on a row. Still done in some areas, but the California system is certainly the commercial way that's done here in eastern North Carolina. If you want to grow strawberries at home, these varieties that we use in the California system are not particularly good. They're pretty disease susceptible, and they're not going to hang around for multiple years. So if you want to go to the matted row in your home garden, look for some of the old varieties like Atlas and Titan and Apollo and those. One thing to caution about growing strawberries at home, if you go to some of the nurseries, sometimes you may see ever-bearing varieties sold. Ever-bearing varieties versus spring-bearing varieties. Ever-bearing varieties are not well adapted to our climate and generally don't do particularly well. Up in the mountains in a cooler climate, ever-bearers work fine, but here, if you're going to grow them yourself, the June bearers are the ones you want. Now, if you're going to pick some from the commercial growers, as I said, this is the time to do it. Pretty straightforward with picking strawberries. Make sure they're completely red all the way up around the shoulders. You're going to have better flavor that way. The strawberry crop doesn't hang around too long here in southeastern North Carolina. When the days start getting into the 80s, you're going to see the fruit production really drop off. So right now is a great time to get out to those fields, pick some strawberries and enjoy them. And that's exactly what we're going to do right now. Pick a few, take some back to Chantel and see what she can come up with these great strawberries.
What we do to the planet, we do to ourselves. You can help keep America beautiful. Visit kab.org.
Welcome to the kitchen. This time of year always makes me think of barbecuing. So today I'm going to show you some easy sides and something you can use on your meats that you grill. And since strawberries are in season, then I'm going to show you how to use strawberries straight from the patch to make a nice little salsa with cucumber that can go on meats such as fish. It's recommended to go on swordfish. And I'm going to show you how to make a cabbage salad. It's an alternative to coleslaw that you probably typically use with the mayonnaise and things like that. But I'm going to show you this alternative that actually is really delicious as well and healthier. So I'm going to show you how to make these two dishes, and I'm going to start with the strawberry cucumber salsa. And I've got strawberries, cilantro, jalapeno, lime, cucumber, onion, and a little bit of hot sauce. So I've already washed my vegetables and fruit, so I'm going to go ahead and get them sliced. First is the strawberries. They're going to be diced, so I'm just going to cut the top off and then slice it down long ways. Turn it. This will make it a little bit easier. And then go through and dice it. And it's going to take about a cup of strawberries. All right, so I've got about 4 strawberries in here to make a cup. Next is the cucumber, which I'm going to peel that first and then dice it up as well. This also takes a cup of cucumber. Just got that measured out. Next is a little bit of red onion, so I'm just going to peel that. And it only takes 1.5 tablespoons of onion, so you can save the rest of that for something else. It also calls for 3 tablespoons of cilantro. So I've got some fresh cilantro here I'm just going to chop up. The next ingredient is jalapeno. So I'm going to chop the end off and then put my glove on because the seeds in the jalapeno are really powerful. So I'm going to keep it out of your skin as much as possible. And it calls for 1 teaspoon of jalapeno. Another ingredient is the lime, and it actually calls for it if you're doing it with the meat like the swordfish, then you're gonna have 1 lime and you're gonna zest it into the salsa and then save it and juice it after the fish is cooking, so the juice is really fresh into the salsa. But right now, all I'm gonna do is the zest. All right, once you got that zested into there, go ahead and add your hot sauce. And just stir that up. And like I said, save the lime. And if you're grilling some meat, some fish, or maybe some shrimp or something, just set this aside. And then once your fish is ready, once it's done grilling, then you will juice your lime and add that and a little bit of salt and pepper to taste if you need it. And then you just pour it right onto your hot fish ready to eat. You don't cook it or anything. It's ready to go as is. It's got a beautiful salsa here that will really go nice on a fish. So now I'm going to show you how to make the cabbage salad that can go on a side, and it will go nicely with anything you grill really. You can grill steaks, or you can do the fish, or you can do chicken or hamburger, whatever. This is a really nice side dish, especially during the summer months, that you can use with some of those meats. So I've got the cabbage, carrot, then I'm going to use some ramen noodles, which I've crushed up, and I saved the seasoning out of it that I'm going to use. I've got olive oil, vinegar, sugar, and salt. So first is chopping the cabbage, and I'm only going to use half a head. But if you're cooking for a large group, then you can go ahead and use the whole thing. But half a head probably makes about 8 servings. Now, using fresh cabbage straight out of your garden really is better than using it already, store-bought, washed in a bag, just because it's going to be a lot crispier, crunchier, and fresher. So if you've got it in your garden, I strongly recommend using it and growing it if you don't have it in your garden, because it is just so much crunchier for a nice salad. So I like to wash it in my salad spinner. It makes it a lot easier. If you don't have one, that's okay, but just run it under some water and give it a spin. So you've got all your cabbage washed and ready to go. Just pour it into a nice bowl. And then for the carrot, you can either buy it pre-sliced, or you can do it yourself, save a little bit of money by just buying a whole carrot, and then all you need is a vegetable peeler, and then you can just go along the carrot, make some nice big pieces of carrot in there. And then for the seasoning, all you do is combine all the ingredients. I usually just use my measuring cup that I've already measured out my oil in. And then stir those up. You can stir it with a spoon or a whisk, but I like to save on dirty dishes, so I use the spoon that I'm going to stir the salad with. And for this, I've used chicken flavor noodles for the seasoning, so that's what I recommend using. Then, before I drizzle that on, just add in the crunched up noodles, then drizzle it and stir. If you'd like, you can add some canned chicken or maybe some sunflower seeds or different things like that to give it some different flavors and texture. But if you don't want to, then you can just use it as is. It's a very delicious salad for side dishes, especially in the summertime. So we've got the cabbage salad and then the strawberry and cucumber salsa for your meat. And these are some great things you can have for your summer dishes, for friends and family. Otherwise, with the summertime months ahead, there's going to be a lot of vegetables and fruits ready in the garden. So here at Cooperative Extension, we've got some canning classes coming up. So if you'd like to learn how to can your vegetables during the month of May, you can get ahead of the season by coming and learning how to can properly. So that way in the future months, in the summer, then you'll be ready to go. You'll know what to do. So check us out on Facebook, check out our website, and give us a call to sign up for the class. Otherwise, we'll see you next month for another seasonal dish.